G'day, friends and fans. Welcome to Writing Corner. I'm your host, the author David Applegate, author of the book The Boyhood of Cade, book one of the Empire of Elves. The book links are in the link tree in the description below. Please also becoming a patron of the channel. You also get early access to my writing. And along the way, I give out free copies of my book every year. Now, when it comes to writing, one of the things holding back writers is fear of failure, or trying to overcome personal fears. Now, to overcome fear is easier said than done, because to take ownership of your fears, you have to accept that you have ownership of your life, that you decide what you believe and build, and you have to learn to trust yourself. Through that, you engage in the process of writing. You write a little every day, each day getting better, not worrying about an audience. Don't worry about even if you're accurately spelling or anything like that. Don't care about tropes or what people like and dislike. Forget about trends, okay? Write what you know and write as often as you can. Spell checks, another area. Once you build up a story, start doing editing, and this helps build up trust in yourself. Identify exactly what it is. Fear of failure, although some people fear success. They fear that they're an imposter and don't belong, that they've done something wrong in their life to deserve. These things take time to overcome. Not everybody overcomes down their fears. However, eventually, at some point, you have to confront your fear. That is to sit down, work out what you're afraid of, and how you believe you can overcome your fears without harming others or yourself. It's important that you do not harm, do no harm. Recognize the fact that there are excuses and circumstances. Excuses are stuff we make up. Oh, I was watching a TikTok video. I got lost track of time. My family gets in the way. Well, circumstances, you have a job, you have family obligations, and despite all these obligations, many writers, without giving up their real life, they socialize, they have family, they have kids, and yet they still manage to write a book or two. So we all have to recognize the difference between circumstances and excuses. Excuses are a cover for procrastination, whereas circumstances are real life things you have to do, such as bathe, sleep, not be an alcoholic, limit the amount of coffee intake, exercise occasionally, eat healthily, and actually engage in writing and minimize your research on TikTok or whatever streaming service you're addicted to. The majority of us are addicted to at least something. Growth mindset. One of the things holding most people back is they don't want to personally grow. They are in a comfort zone, and without a plan to grow, to set a goal, to even if it's a book, okay? You don't have to. You're not setting a goal to become the bestseller or the next J.K. Rowling or the next Stephen King or even George Martin. What you're doing is setting a goal, saying, "I want to write a book, so I'm going to set. How do I write a book? Because a book is not just the story; it's the formatting, the editing, the cover, the marketing, the blurb, the interacting with other people. All these are fears. Fears of failure, fears of successes, fears of ridicule, fears of not having a social life. That's a big fear for writers. And along the way, you set goals. You could write a book, and it may be the worst piece of trash Doesn't matter. It's your book, and I know it sounds like a feel goodism that is invalid, but it's actually valid. Some feel goods are valid. Every story is a valid story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It doesn't have to have any other structure. Throughout history, stories have been simple. A lot of your favorite fairy tales started merely as short stories on a page, literally a page. There weren't books. Cinderella started as a story called Cinders. I think it was like 17 lines about a girl who was persecuted because she was blackened by coal dust. She was kept in the basement and beaten. And one day the prince saw her, fell in love, took her under his wing. There was nothing about a shoe or talking mice or she was, those stories expanded over time. And again, you write a story, a basic outline, and expand it over time. There's your goals. Chapter 1, there's a goal. Chapter by chapter, each chapter has a goal. Let's say a chapter is going to be 5,000 to 7,000 words, but you don't have to. You can have you can have a story that's a page long, my friend, because you are the writer of your story, not me. I am just trying to get you there. Professional help. A lot of us seek professional help. Why pay a therapist when you can just go to a writing group? Why go to relaxation and therapy sessions when that's true? That's why we TikTok. That's find what relaxes you and say, right, I need this amount of personal time to relax, and then I can write. And actually, most of us are just trying to relax because we know that's when we write at our best. So remember, that is not an excuse why you're watching TikTok. That's a circumstance that leads you, right? Watching TikTok and laughing at dances or listening to your favorite or listening to a clip of your favorite music, if that relaxes you, that gets you in the writing mood, that is actually a circumstance, not an excuse. The excuse is, oh, I got to keep doing it every day or I got to keep doing it for hours. No, learn the amount that you need to overcome your fears and your anxieties and then continue. Why pay a professional when you can engage in your own cognitive behavioral therapy by finding your favorite music, listening to a favorite song, and then writing a few lines, listening to another song, then writing a few more lines, and doing it progressively, taking breaks, listen to the music, take a coffee, plan your breaks, spread it out, and eventually over time you become a writer. And the thing is, writers don't have to be published, they don't have to go to school, they don't need fancy degrees, and most of all you need is peer recognition. And first off, here it is. I am going to give it to you. You've written a line, you're starting to write a book. The moment you are identifying as a writer and writing and working on a book, you are a fellow author. Welcome in my space, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, X, Rumble, Odyssey, whatever. Okay? You are a writer. I'm a writer. Doesn't matter if J.K. Rowling doesn't recognize me or anybody else. You are a writer, and that writers should be respectful of each other and not these aloof, pie in the sky, union card carrying bureaucrats who tell everybody else that they're writing and that their tropes and that their styles are the bee's knees. And unfortunately, yes, that is a problem to overcome, that the establishment writers have the attention, and that unfortunately creates a lot of fear in people. Positive mindfulness, that's positive reinforcement, friendships, family. These are all things that help us overcome fear. Now, not knowing where to go or where to start, Draft to Digital, that is a website where you can that'll help you turn your drafts to properly format your books to be published through self-publishing, that is. But you don't have to go that way. But remember, there's a writing process, and the process is the one that you're working out as you work out your fears, as you work to overcome your fears. And remember, it's natural. Fear is an emotion, not a logic. So learn to deal with your emotions and understand that emotions are fleeting and that they can overcome, like all negative emotions, with positive action. Some people think they have to cheat, of course. That is, they take their frustrations out on others, they turn their fears into anger and blame others. Instead of learning to live with fear, we all live with fear. We all have to recognize our fear. And even though some of us are still in a state of perpetual fear, at least we are functional to some extent. I am not one to lecture you on what your fears are and how valid or invalid they are. All fears are valid. Some people have as many as 22 massive fears, from imposter syndrome, anxiety, to acceptance. Let me try and help you with acceptance. And I understand all people struggle with acceptance, but leave your sexuality, your politics, and your religions to yourself or to the groups you belong in. With writing, it's about your writing. And creating a comfort zone with other writers, it's about your writing. Generalized patient. I have a fear generated from personal anxiety and generalized social and intimate anxiety disorder. I have a post-traumatic stress from a number of incidences that happened to me. And over time, I've been able to learn to live my fears and become, basically, I'm a functional hermit in that I can deal with you like this. I can deal with people like this through other mediums, through social media, and I can do my writing without sleeping 20 hours a day. I used to sleep 20 hours a day. I used to eat excessively. I hardly exercised. And of course, this leads to why we got to eat healthy, exercise at least 20 minutes, just some walks, 10-minute walking, get some water into you, not coffee, water. I know, right? You can drink 20 cups of coffee, but 1 cup of water and you're like, done. I know those feelings, and I know they're all hard to overcome because I have them. So I'm not saying this is easy, and I'm not saying it's overnight success or instant success. And when it comes to everything else, like, learn that your baggage is your baggage. And that's why I'd say when it comes to writing groups, your politics, your religions, and even your personal moralities, or you may not like trans, you may not like gay, you might not like this group or that group. This group may actually offend you. But as writers, we have to accept the fact that every type is a writer. There's no such thing as a writing type. Every type of person is a writer, and every writer is valid, and every writing is valid. That doesn't mean we have to read it. Doesn't mean we have to ram it down each other's throats. When it comes to writing, you can ask the most vilest person in the world on writing tips, and they probably got some, and they're all valid. And voila, stop fearing how people will accept you if you're accepting. And I'm not talking about political or whatever. I'm just saying, as writers, we have a somewhat obligation as a oppressed, exploited group to help and support each other. we are the target of economic exploitation, whether it's Hollywood or Amazon or any other publisher. They seek to make more off us than we make. And of course, you have all the parasites from editors, agents, who all seem to justify it by saying, yes, but we help you make money. But at the end of the day, who makes more? The publisher or us? The movie maker or us? Who gets the fame? The actress or us? Who get even the writing guild makes more money than most writers. The fees cost more than what most writers make. So please, welcome to the Empire of Elves, my friends. I am just a humble chronicler. I am your friend in writing, in pen and paper. And it doesn't matter whether you accept me or not, because I'm not here about converting your politics, personal morality. I am just merely stating the fact that I am willing to accept anybody who's, as a writer, who is writing and willing to help them be a better writer. Because while I help you, you help me. And even this already, talking to you like this, is helping me. So please, be, don't let anybody tell you you're not a writer because you haven't got a degree or because you've only written one book or you've written a couple of pages of poetry. Well, I've interviewed a very talented poet. She has written she wrote a few ditties back in the day when she was a child, and her fears held her back. But now she's enjoying success, and she's happy and living life. She is happy, and along the way, I've met many writers who've only managed to write a book, yet they are so happy they've done it. And that happiness I wish for all people. Thank you for watching. I hope I've helped you. I know I feel better letting off my chest that we can live with fear, and we may not always overcome it, but we can live with it and at least be better writers for it. Or at least don't let it stop you writing. And maybe like me, you can become a functional hermit. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. YouTube, oh yeah, YouTubers, don't forget that notification bell. And of course, one way to support channels to buy coffee mugs and other items from my Etsy store. Um, now consider becoming a patron. You not just get support the channel, but you get early access to my writing. And of course, speaking of writing, I have a second Patreon for RPG based on my writing. And of course, the links are in the description below. Please and thank you. Support the channel today. And of course, you could always make a donation. Links in the description below. Please and thank you. See you in the next video.